you find them again in the small hours, papers on the kitchen table, a half-drunk coffee gone cold, the glow of a phone screen that keeps promising news that never comes. I remember the hero in this story, not an impossible figure, but someone who looked very much like you, someone who wore responsibility like a familiar coat and carried quiet resignation in the lines around their eyes. In the beginning, that resignation felt normal. I'm practical, they told themselves. I'm realistic. Yet each missed opportunity, each polite no, left a residue, a soft tightening in the chest, a hesitation before saying yes, a secret lowering of expectations. Picture the scene. Rain taps the window while the hero scrolls through other people's success, bright, confident faces, contracts sliding across glossy tables. The hero's own apartment is warm but dim, bills sit stacked like small stones. The inner voice whispers a litany of doubts that sound reasonable, not ready, not enough time, not the right person. Those doubts, though, become more than thoughts. They become a radio signal, broadcast without permission. In the silence between intention and action, that signal, shaky, apologetic, undecided, reaches the world first. I thought I was doing all the right things, the hero confesses to me, voice low. I planned. I saved. I waited. But the universe, it turns out, doesn't deliver to plans alone. It replies to what we send out continually, the emotional frequency we live in. Doubt, hesitation, insecurity, subtle, habitual, almost invisible, create currents that gently push opportunity away. Offers skim by like boats avoiding a storm, collaborations pass on the other side of the harbor. There is relief in that discovery because it changes everything. It means opportunity is not a roulette spin or secret favor, it is a responsive mirror. And there is a different signal to learn, clarity wrapped in quiet confidence, the steady hum of self-assuredness that draws people, money, and possibility toward you instead of away. In the next moments together, we will walk into how the hero first notices that shift, how awareness becomes a practice, and how small internal adjustments begin to bend the world's attention. If this resonates, tap like, and tell me, what emotion dominates your financial life? Subscribe gently to stay with us as the journey continues. The kitchen was quiet except for the soft tick of a clock and the paper rustle of a stack of unopened envelopes. He, our hero, sat hunched at the table, shoulders a little narrower than they used to be, staring at numbers that felt more like verdicts than possibilities. Across the room, a rain-heavy window blurred the city lights into smeared coins. I watched him there, felt the familiar twitch of old habits taking shape, a small, practiced inhale before saying no, the way his eye skimmed opportunity and slid away, the polite sentence that deflected an offer before it landed. Maybe later, he muttered, as if training himself to believe it. In the silence that followed, I asked him to speak aloud the first thought that came when someone mentioned money, partnership, or a new idea. His voice was almost apologetic, I don't want to overstep. What if I fail? A simple sentence, but it carried years of tiny withdrawals, confidence siphoned off by doubt, hesitation, and the steady drip of self-reproach. We walked through memory as though it were a neighborhood at dusk. There was the meeting where he didn't ask for the raise, the family dinner when he let an uneasy agreement stand, the hesitant no to a project that later became someone else's success. Each moment had atmosphere, the humid panic in the throat, fingers that suddenly needed to fold a napkin, a throat that tasted like regret. These were not random missteps, they were a pattern, an energetic signature he had been broadcasting without knowing it. Energy responds to signal, I said, not as a platitude but as a bedside truth. He looked up. So I've been attracting the wrong things, he asked. Not wrong, consistent. What we send out is proof to the world about who we are. Doubt and hesitation are like static on a radio, they keep the right station from coming through. Confidence, clarity, a quiet certainty, those are the frequencies that attract collaborators, clients, and money. I guided him to feel the difference, the tight coil of uncertainty in the solar plexus, then the slow, grounding breath that creates space. Try speaking from that space, I suggested. He breathed, and the next sentence, firm, small, true, took shape. It wasn't a miracle. It was practice. If this resonates, if you can name the emotion that dominates your financial life, leave a quiet sign you're here, and stay with me. Next, we'll turn that newly noticed awareness into the daily practices that reshape the signal itself. You watch him, or perhaps you see yourself, a small kitchen table strewn with invoices, a mug gone cold, the late afternoon sun flattening the edges of hope. He rubs his forehead, a habit learned when plans stalled, an automatic flicker of doubt. I sit across from him in that quiet, not as judge but as guide. What do you feel when the offer doesn't come? I ask. He looks up, surprised that someone names the ache so plainly. Like I did something wrong, he says, voice low. Like I wasn't loud enough, smart enough, visible enough. The words hang in the room like dust motes resisting the light. We trace the pattern together. The hero remembers a meeting he let slip because he second-guessed his idea. He remembers a pitch softened into apology. Each small acquiescence created a background hum, hesitation, apology, uncertainty, that played on repeat and, without drama, repelled attention. I point to the subtle geography of those feelings, not dramatic fear, but a low-volume signal that tells the world, unintentionally, to pass by. You didn't fail because of the market, I say. You failed because your internal radio was tuned to static. At first he is defensive, then curious. We walk to the window where a street musician improvises a steady melody. The contrast helps him hear what confidence sounds like, simple, continuous, unapologetic. Clarity doesn't mean arrogance, I explain. It means you know where you're going and you let that knowing shape your words and posture. Opportunity responds to that steadiness. He tries it, a small breath, a firmer yes when asked if he can deliver, a concise description of value instead of a ramble of worries. The room shifts. When he speaks with that new tone on a follow-up call, the listener leans in. An unexpected meeting is scheduled. You feel the lift as much as he does, the first sign that something internal can reorder outer events. It's not magic, it's practiced alignment. Before we move into the concrete practices that will let you broadcast that signal without strain, tell me quietly, which small hesitation in your day would you be willing to change? If this struck a chord, like the video and stay with me, and next, I'll guide you through the first simple exercise to anchor that confident clarity. He sits at the kitchen table while the late light spills across unpaid bills and a half-drunk cup of coffee, the house humming with the small sounds of an ordinary evening. I watch him there, shoulders hunched, eyes flicking between numbers and a calendar full of postponed possibilities. I tried everything, he says, voice thin with the fatigue of many small defeats. The honesty in that admission is the first crack of light. It's not the world closing doors, it's the signal he's been sending out without knowing, a tremor of hesitation, a murmur of not yet, a faint broadcast of doubt that the universe answers by keeping opportunities at a respectful distance. We step outside, the street a quiet line of houses, and I ask him to stand barefoot on the cool grass. The air is simple, the kind that makes you notice your own breath. What are you feeling now? I ask. He names anxiety, then embarrassment, then, after a pause, fear. Naming is its own kind of clearing. In that silence he feels something else, a small, stubborn ember that remembers earlier triumphs, a time he trusted himself and the world matched him. That ember is the clue. Back at his desk he writes a single sentence at the top of the bill-strewn page, I am clear about what I want and ready to receive it. It feels strange, almost arrogant, but as he repeats it aloud, slow, deliberate, like a bell ringing in a quiet room, his posture shifts, shoulders dropping, chin lifting. The change is subtle, almost molecular, his voice steadies, his breathing lengthens, his gaze narrows not with doubt but with direction. This is the hidden signal we've been searching for, clarity given breath and confidence that does not demand proof. It does not shout, it simply aligns. An email pings an hour later, an unexpected inquiry, a short sentence that names him and his work with unmistakable interest. He smiles, surprised at how light that smile is. You see? I say softly. The world is always listening. It responds to the tone you set. He leans back, the lines of worry softened, beginning to understand that prosperity isn't luck but resonance. If this lands with you, notice your own tone today. what emotion is broadcasting from your chest? Like this moment, ask yourself that question and stay with the answer. We'll take that awareness and turn it into daily practice next, so the signal you send becomes the life that arrives. The morning light found him at the kitchen table, a warm mug cooling between his hands, the unpaid bills like small islands on the tablecloth. The guide sat opposite, calm as tide water. "Tell me exactly what you want," she said, not with impatience but with an invitation. He hesitated, the old script rising. "I want security, I want more freedom, I want to stop surviving and start living." His voice wavered because his words were soft and vague, the kind that scatter in wind. She smiled and leaned forward. Those soft wishes send a soft signal. The universe responds to clarity the same way a radio tunes to a single frequency. She walked him through a different practice, no mystic language, only precise habit. Start with a specific image, the amount you'd like in your account, the contract you say yes to, the collaboration that energizes you. Describe the scene, who is there, what time of day, what are you wearing? Then give it a number, a date, a next step. He scoffed at first, numbers felt cold, but when she handed him a pen, his hand stopped jittering. He wrote, $15,000 by October, 3 calls this month, 1 mentor reply. The act of specifying shifted something, his chest unclenched as if space had been granted for possibility. They moved outside to a small balcony. The guide asked him to stand tall, breathe, and speak his intention out loud. "I am ready to receive offers that align with my values," he said, the word steadying his shoulders. "Signal goes out before opportunity walks in," she reminded him. Then she taught him crisp practices, a 10-minute clarity ritual each morning, a single boundary to protect focus time, and a daily micro-action, 1 email, 1 call, 1 clear yes or no, that proves to the world he means it. The exercises were simple, almost surgical: name, number, next step. A message pinged on his phone as he folded his paper, an old colleague asking to discuss a new project. He felt the small, electric thrill of recognition, not magic, but consequence. If this landed for you, give it a like. What emotion is loudest in your financial life right now? Stay with that question as we move deeper. Next, we'll turn these openings into a sustainable routine that keeps that signal steady, even when fear knocks. Morning light spills across the kitchen table where she sits, bills stacked like small mountains, a cold cup of coffee forgotten at her elbow. The hero in our story, tired, careful, halfway convinced that waiting is the only strategy, looks up when I speak, the room suddenly quieter. "You've been sending a signal," I say, but it's been garbled, hesitation in your voice, uncertainty in your posture, vague requests instead of clear invitations. She scoffs softly, then admits, almost to herself, "I don't even know how to ask for what I want." We move slowly through the practice. She places both palms on the table, breathes down into her ribs, and I have her shape one honest sentence, one line of clarity she can carry like a lantern. It is simple, no fantasies, no begging, just a stance: I am open to clear, aligned financial opportunity. She repeats it aloud, the sound changes the room. Her spine straightens, the face that has been folded in worry relaxes into a small, fierce composure. This is the signal, not louder demands, but steadier presence. Days become experiments rather than tests. When an old doubt surfaces, what if they say no? She answers it with a brief action, a 90-second breath practice, 3 clear words of intention, then a single, small commitment, an honest email, a concise phone call, a proposal that names the value she brings. The world begins to respond, not with a torrent, but with a series of soft taps, an unexpected message requesting a conversation, a past client mentioning a referral, a polite "can we talk about working together?" Each tap feels different now because she is different, her internal signal pulls them closer. There are stumbles, a meeting that doesn't go as planned, a wave of old insecurity that tries to drown the new rhythm. But the ritual is quick and repeatable: repeat intention, steady breath, clear action, and each return to it strengthens her magnetic field. She catches herself smiling at possibilities she once dismissed. I ask, quietly, which emotion has been running your financial life? Her answer is a revelation and a map. If you felt this shift with her, tap like to acknowledge it and stay, because next, we test this new signal on a bigger stage and face the decision that will either cement change or send us back to old patterns. He wakes before dawn, not because an alarm forces him, but because something quieter has shifted, an eager curiosity instead of the old, heavy dread. In the kitchen, steam rising from a plain mug, he practices a small ritual taught by the guide: 3 deep breaths, a single clear sentence spoken aloud: I know what I want, and I am open to how it arrives. The words feel strange at first, like wearing a new coat, but the cloth already fits in an odd, promising way. Outside, the city breathes awake, a bus door sighs, a cafe door chimes. Those ordinary sounds no longer push him into anxiety, they become punctuation marks to his steady intent. During a meeting later that morning, he notices the difference. Where he used to hedge, maybe, perhaps, I'll try, he now names the concrete next step: a reasonable price, a deadline, a follow-up call. A client leans in, surprised by the calm beneath the confidence. Where did that come from? She asks. He tells her, quietly, about the ritual and the choice to refuse desperation. The guide's voice appears in memory: clarity is a signal. Hesitation is a noise. The client smiles and nods, an opportunity that used to evaporate now folds into possibility. There are setbacks, an email that sounds indifferent, an unexpected expense, but his internal signal doesn't collapse. Instead of personalizing failure, he treats it as data. He journals, not to berate but to refine: what did I ask for? How did I show certainty? He notices small physical shifts too: straighter shoulders, a softer tone, eyes that meet rather than skim. These are not tricks, they are habits that feed one another. Each practiced moment of clarity attracts a nudge of external response, an extra referral, a willingness from a supplier to negotiate, an invitation to collaborate. One evening, walking home beneath streetlights, he rehearses how he'll receive an offer without shrinking. He imagines saying yes with conditions that protect his worth. He remembers the first time money flowed without shame and lets that feeling swell. If this rings true for you, tap like: what emotion dominates your financial life right now? If you want to keep walking, subscribe and stay for the next step, where the world finally answers and the hero must choose how to accept the prosperity arriving at his door. Morning light cuts through the kitchen blinds as he sets his coffee down, the small rituals of a life being remade. He breathes slow, feeling the difference, not the frantic wishing of the past, but a quiet, deliberate clarity that settles in his chest like a warm stone. Outside, the neighborhood stirs, laundry flapping, a dog barking, and those ordinary sounds feel oddly affirming, as if the world itself is taking a breath with him. He runs a hand over the papers on the table, then closes the file. Today I'll say yes, he tells himself aloud, not as a demand but as a clear instruction, and the voice that answers back inside is steady, not needy. Across town, his sister pauses at the doorway when he arrives. You're different, she says softly, surprised, curious. More, sure. He shrugs, smiling in a new, unforced way. I stopped chasing outcomes, he says. I send a signal, clarity, not desperation. She laughs, the sound a relief, and immediately asks if he can help with a small project, an honest conversation turned into an unexpected collaboration. The call he gets an hour later is short and bright: an old client remembered his name and wants to discuss a new opportunity. These are not miracles so much as echoes, responses to the steady broadcast he's begun to emit. There are practices that build that broadcast: simple alignment before action, a 5-minute clarity check, a posture that refuses to shrink. He speaks these practices into the day like instructions to a nervous instrument: clear intention, calm breath, confident body, and watches how people lean in differently. Money doesn't arrive like a lottery ticket, it arrives through openings, offers, conversations that favor someone who sounds grounded. The hero discovers that confidence is less about loud certainty and more about consistent clarity. When you stop signaling scarcity, the world stops reflexively avoiding you. There's a small, cinematic moment that captures the shift: an email arrives with an offer that once would have felt impossible. He reads it, lets a quiet smile form, and answers with a composed yes. If this landed with you, tap like and tell me, what emotion dominates your financial life? Stay with me and subscribe, because next we'll map the exact daily sequence that keeps this signal steady and turns these ripples into lasting prosperity. Morning light slides across the kitchen table where the hero sits, a cup cooling beside an open notebook. Outside, the street hums with ordinary life. Inside, something quietly realigns. She breathes slowly, naming one clear sentence aloud: I move toward opportunities with calm clarity. The words feel simple and, for the first time in months, true. A memory of old habits, second-guessing, frantic reaching, rises like fog and then thins as she traces the sentence again, anchoring it to a single small action, clearing the top drawer of clutter. It is mundane, but the ritual of making space becomes a promise to herself. Across town, he practices the same signal in his car before an interview, hands on the steering wheel, voice low: I am ready, I am clear. He straightens his posture, softens his jaw, and replies to a call with steady confidence rather than habitual apology. I can start next Monday, he says, surprised at his own ease. The person on the other end hesitates, then laughs. Perfect, we need someone exactly like that. The offer arrives not because of luck but because the tone he sent matched the tone the opportunity sought. These scenes are punctuated with small, repeatable techniques: a minute of breath to center intent, a 3-word financial signal chosen the night before, a tidy desk that says to the world, I am organized, I am available. The hero practices declining a low-value project with kindness, noticing how boundaries sharpen the signal rather than close doors. Friends comment, you look different, calmer. One asks, what changed? She answers simply, I stopped broadcasting panic and started sending clarity. That sentence is a turning point. It reframes money and offers as responses to an internal frequency, not prizes to chase. Money begins to ripple, a return deposit, an unexpected referral, a collaboration invite that fits like a glove. Each event carries the same tone, the world meeting the new signal with matching openness. If this shift resonates with you, give a quiet like and consider which single sentence you could name today. What emotion dominates your financial life? If you want to learn how to keep this signal steady and scale its effects, stay with me, and next, we weave these practices into a daily architecture so prosperity becomes a reliable habit. You stand now at the edge of the room where the hero once sat, hands curled around a cup gone cold. The light has shifted, the same table, the same clock, but your posture has changed. I watch you breathe differently, a steady in and out that steadies the tremor of doubt. Remember when the hero whispered, what if I fail, and the house seemed to answer with silence? Tonight the answer is different. The voice inside murmurs, what if I try with clarity, and the world leans in. Outside, the street hums soft and ordinary, a neighbor returning from an evening walk, a bicyclist passing by, a faint radio playing a song you once loved. Those ordinary things are the chorus that responds when you send a clear signal. You learn to pause, 3 measured breaths, a single line written in your notebook, I am open to offers that match my value. It feels small, almost silly at first, and then the pulse changes, your shoulders drop, your words tighten into precise currency, and opportunities stop skidding past like rain on a window pane. In the kitchen, you rehearse a new sentence aloud, steady, simple. I welcome collaborations that honor my boundaries. Your reflection inclines, and for the first time in months you speak to a real person about a real possibility. He says, tell me more, and that 2-word invitation was the hinge. That's the moment we've been shaping, awareness folding into action. Not a single dramatic leap, but a series of quiet alignments, clarity, follow-through, and the courage to receive. This is how prosperity arrives, not as a lightning strike, but as neighbors knocking, messages pinging, offers shaped to fit your new rhythm. Keep practicing the small rituals, breaths that center, a clarity sentence, an offering of value each week, and notice how the pattern shifts. Which emotion has dominated your financial life until now? Pause, name it, and if this journey moved something in you, tap like and leave a word below. If you want more guided shifts like this, subscribe and come back. There is always another layer waiting to be lit by the clarity you choose to emit.